Hello, everyone, and welcome to Manufacturing Matters, where we talk about the technology and trends reshaping the global manufacturing industry. I'm here today with my co-host, Jimmy Carroll. How are you doing, Jimmy?
Doing well, thank you.
Beautiful. And we are lucky enough to be with David Reger, founder and CEO of NEURA Robotics. David, I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your day. I know how insanely busy you are this week during Automate.
I am so thankful to be here. So great, I'm excited.
Appreciate it. So, there's so many things for us to talk about. One, of course, is that if you happen to be able to attend Automate this year, you realize that some of the biggest robotics companies in the world have a new competitor in NEURA Robotics, both not just in technology, but also in the booth. It's one of the most beautiful booths I've ever seen in my life.
Thanks.
And it's large in two different parts. The foot traffic through there have been insane. So you've probably seen the recent video clip that I think was on Reuters and picked up by USA Today, if I'm not mistaken, today. That was kind of a great clip with one of your humanoid robots, but I'm getting too far ahead. So David, would you start us off with why you founded NEURA Robots? What are the differentiators between you and the other cobot industrial robot OEMs out there?
So pretty much I saw that how we were using robots until today was kind of limited in my opinion. So it means like limited by simple experts. And so how I found out is actually because I was running a robotics company and also founded my own automation company to do bigger projects with the automotive industry. And there I simply saw that every time we are doing something like a simple bin picking application, which is not that simple, I found out that we had to somehow reinvent the wheel every time again and again. So it means even I do exactly the same thing with the same safety periphery, the same, let's say, vision system, and the same robot.
Yeah.
It was not the same result. So I had to all the time like adjust because of the lights, because of the environment, and every time I change the whole thing, and I take weeks to somehow make it work.
Yeah.
So, and there I simply thought about like, how can we change that? How can we maybe change it this way that the robot itself gets a little bit more smartness and less of the human smartness? So it means like to make it happen, the idea was simple, that to put all the sensors that you normally put around the robot just simply inside the robot arm, and then put a brain behind, and then have a platform which simply can start growing. So it means it can work with different lightnings because simply it learns. It's a little bit like we humans do. Like if we put our eyes every day in a different position, we'll figure out that our brain cannot really work with that, or so it will be difficult.
Plus, I have to get a lot more pairs of glasses.
Yes, at least weird ones because
Flexible.
So, and so and that's the same for everything. Like, and to enable robotics also being safe next to humans, you need to figure out what's a human actually. So the robot should know what's a human to react on a human. Mm-hmm. And these are the things which I just simply want to change.
You know, I wanted to ask about the genesis of the company. We serve humanity. Tell me a little bit about that. It's curious.
Yeah, it goes farther back because I simply that's why I'm so happy to be back here in the US. I was already living in the US. I was here in 2009 and 10 in San Francisco, and really serving like by myself, like to work with homeless people and also people which came out of prisons to get them back to life, because it was a tough time after the Lehman Brothers crisis.
Right.
And so there was a lot of people in the street. So and there are simply, I really want to help people. It was my ambition. But when I was here, I simply thought, okay, every time I'm doing that, it's somehow exhausting me, and somehow I'm just exchanging my life for them. So and it makes sense. So I hope it doesn't ever stop. Right. But even if I go now back to San Francisco, I still see it. It has some effect, but maybe it just made something slower. But it was still not really helping.
Especially at the human level.
Yes, and for that, I simply thought, okay, I need to find another way. And combining two things, like one is like helping people, the other is doing technology, because I'm an engineer. So and when I went back, I thought about, and I thought robotics can be a big fit. Like if we enable robotics into every home, everywhere, we will have more time for exactly doing these things, like serving humans. Doing this, what we are good in, is like taking care of other humans.
I mean, like on different levels.
Yeah.
That was actually making me all the time. Like from the first day, we were talking about serving humanity. It was very confusing for many people. We're like, "Hey, you're stealing my jobs." So you're not really.
No, not really.
Right? But and this was exactly the thing where I had all the time to explain. But I loved it because we went into very deep conversations, and yeah.
It's a really remarkable approach, and I love it. And I'm glad you brought up the idea of robots stealing jobs, because it kind of feels like we've gone past that hump now, and people are realizing that robots are actually improving people's jobs in many ways and adding more jobs. It's just categorically not an issue. I mean, if you look at all the reports.
Yeah. Productivity gains are helping companies to hire more people, handle more capacity, offer better salaries to the people and the employees they already have. So it's across the board. It's not like there's 3 benefits and 1 con. There isn't simply, and I think the world is starting to realize that.
Yeah. Even if you're looking right now into the world, I mean, we are lacking of, let's say, laborers.
Yes.
Mostly lacking actually of skilled workers. Mm-hmm. And this is also a key, let's say, a key issue we are solving. Is basically, if you look into robotics until today, like every time a robotics player says, yeah, we are solving the issue of skilled workers shortages, it's not true. Because if you look at a skilled worker, you will actually find out the skilled workers know something, understand something, and react on abnormal situations.
Right.
And this is exactly also, like in cognitive robotics, is actually the key for that. So it means you have eyes, ears, and the field of touch, mm-hmm. which we brought into robots with sensors, and then a brain which actually can learn things. And especially when you're learning things, you're learning like how to react on abnormal situations. And that's also today we show like applications in welding or in polishing or whatever. You show that it's not about my knowledge, like how much I know about welding, because I don't know anything about it, but how much the welding partners of ours actually bring like the knowledge on this platform. And this platform is actually, let's say, reactive enough and knowledge enough to actually do own welding even by seeing the parts.
Right.
So, and this is only enabled by sensors and also, again, combined with artificial intelligence.
To me, and it's like a visual illustrative example of your slogan of "We Serve Humanity," right? Because it really takes humans to serve humanity. So we're creating, you specifically are creating robotic solutions that combine the same sensor levels that humans use, as well as brains that can learn from their existing environment. And just a few years ago, we would talk about integrated sensor suites, but every one of those would have required an engineer to balance the parameters, pull those sensor levels together, and make some sort of intelligent awareness. But when you put in advanced AI, pattern matching and abilities, and the ability to optimize processes on the time and on the fly, I think basically robots are becoming more human-like, which is finally they're starting to live up to the potential that we've always hoped that they would achieve. So to me, your technical approach actually matches the company's slogan, which is a not something you see every day. Yeah. Slogans tend to be marketing elements, right? But with NEURA Robots, it really seems to be, there's technology behind it, which from a geek like me, is very exciting.
I think there's even one more thing I do believe we will solve and serve to. Mm-hmm. Is actually I do even believe that we will save a lot of marriages. It's true. It's like I simply thought about like bringing robots into homes, making them cognitive, like smart, so they can do all the chores we don't like to do, will solve a lot of issues in marriages. Because simply if you mostly talk to people which are not happy with their partners, you will find out that mostly they're saying like, yeah, it's lazy, yeah, it's not taking care of something, whatever, it's not taking the garbage out. My wife would probably talk about that. It's my only chore I have at home, so it's already luxury, or I have only one chore. But imagine like how many times I'm forgetting to simply take the garbage out.
Yeah.
And this pressure is every day on me. So I'm coming back home, super exhausted. I'm coming home, want to talk quickly to my kids, talk with my wife, and then the first question like, "Hey, did you take the garbage out?" So, and that's somehow giving you like yourself like, okay.
I sat down for 30 seconds, so let me just jump up and get that. And everyone's super happy.
but and I think like the expectation on us humans, like and the pressure we have, like in every home, so whatever. So serving humanity means like it's pretty global. Like first, yes, solving this, let's say, skilled worker shortage and like a labor shortage to actually make everything alive. So, I mean, we just heard yesterday on the event here, like, and I simply again thought about it's like a tractor, or like people were scared that it will take some jobs, and it actually did. Like, but which jobs did it take? Or it gave us also the opportunity also today to grow, like in this like almost 8 billion people in the world. It was only possible because we had these tractors which are able to somehow industrialize it and to make it happen that we have enough food on this planet Earth. So, and that's exactly with the robotics part. We would not have these nice cars. We would not have all these phones and all these like nice things around us if we would not have automation and robotics.
And even the most valuable thing in the universe, which in my mind is time.
Yes.
Right. I mean, basically, you're freeing us up from whether it's tasks at the home or tasks at work. Let's be real. Most of the engineers that we're used to working with put in a lot of hours, and a lot of the solutions that you are building are helping to simplify those programmings, those launches and commissioning tasks. So that's super critical. One of the things that also differentiates. So I want to get into. We talked about the basic technologies, non-human, non-imaging based human detection. We talked about not yet, but we've got 3D vision systems which are allowing gesture-based programming, which is kind of the next level, well beyond the pendant, well beyond just taking it to point, and extrapolating the path in between those points, connecting the dots, which is a pretty common programming approach, and then throwing in verbal commands in multiple languages, multiple dialects. What made you decide that you wanted to bridge the gap between your traditional cobot robot solution and the service robotics sector with MIPA, with the new humanoid that's under development?
It's a very good question. So basically, I think the answer is because I'm a German and I live in Germany. Because I mean, every engineer would love to just do humanoids. Right. So every engineer would just like screw the other route, just make some humanoids, and they're just more fun.
I'm going straight to the coolest thing.
More like in the let's say there's much more things to solve also as an engineer.
Yeah.
So I'm super interested in that. But simply, if you're coming in Germany and saying, "Hey, I'm building a humanoid," they will firstly say, good, have fun."
Yeah.
And look how you can somehow finance that or whatever.
Yeah.
So you need a way there, like to make a multi-purpose device, because I do believe that multi-purpose tool in robotics will be also humanoid, but to get there, there's still a way to go. And what is the best way to go, and how can you establish yourself as a company, and at the same time also how can you finance that? How can you and that was the thought I always had. So
okay,
yes,
I see your point.
I thought if I take also the low-hanging fruits and change this market already significantly and bring impact to this market,
right?
Like in the niche market, I call like robotics today, like industrial robotics for me, it's still a very small niche market, even if it works well. But this is how also Amazon started with books, or like our Tesla with a supercar, like a sports car, or Apple with a graphicer, like a designer computer, or some. Like everyone started actually with a big vision, yes, but same also served in the level of low hanging fruits, like where you can somehow prove that there is something better on your idea, and you can bring an impact into it. And this is basically why we started in the industrial sector. We bring a cobot.
Yeah.
We brought an cognitive robot, which is a robot which talk to and whatever. And then we have like the mobile manipulators next right now.
Right.
We're showing also with Amran together. And then there is like the next also the household robot on wheels, which we are also showing on our booth.
Yeah. MIPA.
This one will MIPA, yes. And then the general, let's say, purpose robot, which is a humanoid. I do think like it's not like this one will take over this one, whatever. No, all of them make somehow sense. And I don't believe that humanoids will be like in this clean, nice, flat environments and just having more troubles of walking or whatever. Why on wheels is just simpler. That's why we're using cars.
Right.
And that's exactly. So it will not take over the others, but all of them make somehow sense. And if you control somehow the technology itself, and then finding the right way to bring this technology into the market, because this was the interesting thing about. I think this one solve a lot also for the future. And everything is contributing to each other. So you see today, like an arm is able to weld or to grind or to polish or to pick things or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The same arms are actually on the humanoid. There's just 4 arms in our eyes,
Right.
So we have also an application where we use 8 arms to pick things. So we control that. So it's nothing super complicated.
Well, it actually makes so much common sense, really, when you think about it, because basically selectively enhance existing product, give the market successes, allow it to adopt these new technologies, whether it's verbal commands, whether it's gesture-based 3D program visualization and programming, and then transition those to new platforms. Whether it's a rolling platform, a walking platform, or so. It kind of also connects to another question I had for you, which is how difficult is it to bring a new robotic company into the marketplace right now? Because you're going up against a lot of established players who've got a lot of capital. Let's be real, but based on what we're seeing here at Automate, you're making amazing progress in a very short period of time. How tough is it to launch a new robot company?
Tough. So I do think it's super tough, but at the same time, I think the market needed someone and it's the same what we saw in the automotive industries. You saw there is established automotive car players of Germany or in Japan or whatever. Mm-hmm. But how do they right now, let's say, compete with Tesla or with also BYD or other, which are kind of startups? So the same happens actually right now in the robotics, in my opinion. So it's simply, they made it already for many, many years. They made it pretty good, but they somehow forgot to innovate. And at the same time, they forgot to be open. And they also this thing, the difficult part, not fair part, just it's they were also not able to change a lot of things because simply of their customer base, which pressured them to stay there where they are because that's what they know and that's how they understand and whatever. So, and this gives us also the chance. In the beginning, when I started, I got a lot of critics because everyone knew that I started my first robotics company. It was okay. We made the most, let's say, accurate robot in the world with Siemens together. We did very special things with very smaller niches.
Right.
Let's call it this way.
You're staying in that collective comfort zone that the automation industry has traditionally had.
Yeah, and there actually when I started thinking no, it has to be cognitive, it has to be smarter, and it's idea, and I have to do it now because if I don't do it now, it's nobody will do it, or I will be too late because I want to be and this is also when I started and I was looking for money. I already figured it's the most craziest thing to do because everyone was just telling, hey, David, just do that what you did before. It was quite good. And then we do it for 5 years. And afterwards you can start innovating. And I said, no, I don't have this 5 years. In 5 years, it has to be different. And today we proved we are a 5-year-old company and we changed and a lot. And because we simply were stubborn, or how we call this, and just made it. And the difference we also brought from the beginning is that we started on the white paper. So it means when I started developing, I had my team of 12 people from the first day. So my 12 apostles. and we together were just, I showed them the vision. I have on the 1st of May. And then I told them, hey, you see all these robots, the wall is still there. So in our meeting room, you see a lot of robot players. Every robot is there, which is existing, is on the wall.
Right.
And then, I told them, you see all of them? If we build an own hardware and robots, it's not just about making them smart. That's a thing we will innovate, yes. But to make sense also from the first day, we need to be faster, more accurate, and also more sensitive. You need also the 3 basic pillars, which everyone is asking you when you're trying to get a robot. Mm-hmm. Also need to be better now. So, and then we figured out, to be better, you cannot just use the same components as everyone. And that was also the key decision, I would say. So like Tesla did. They did not just buy standard ZF and Bosch or whatever components because they would be better than others.
Right.
2 years later, everyone would have it. So, and that was exactly the same in the robotics industry. Everyone is buying their encoders from them the typical, I don't want to call it, motors, brakes, everything is coming from the same vendors, suppliers.
Right.
And if you grab the same parts, it will not be better. So we designed everything from zero. So it means we made our own motors, our own encoders, our own full stack sensors, our own protocol even now for how to communicate. This is actually also enabling this 8 robots, 12 robots, like working with each other in half real time without colliding and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It had to be innovated again. So, and that was a difficulty.
Completely vertically integrated all the way.
Yeah.
Yes. And but I also again hear the example of Steve Jobs. It was, why did he not just take an Nokia phone? I hope I am allowed to say that.
Absolutely.
And then make a smartphone out of it. This is actually what the investors always ask me, like, why don't you just make AI? And I said simply no, because I do believe we have to be much deeper integrated. We need to talk with every sensor. We need to build like a new operating system, which is actually talking to every sensor and then enabling, let's say, a platform that everyone can build on and talk to every sensor. And this is actually these apps which we see today, like gluing, welding, whatever. It's much easier and like in an easier language. Okay.
No, man. No, yeah, I love to hear people talk about things they're passionate about. So that's a beautiful thing. I think the Apple example is really interesting because Apple got a leg up by taking one of the best industrial designers and bringing them in and say, okay, we're doing consumer product goods, but let's look at industrial design elements. And how do we make this more easier, simpler, more rugged, reliable, as well as more powerful? And you are assuming to be taking a lot of cues from what consumer products want, right? But putting it into an industrial environment. Which is, I think, a fairly new approach, if I'm not mistaken. I've been with this industry for 25 plus years now, and you don't really hear much about that. I mean, object-based programming would be something where a lot of people stole that for robot programming from Microsoft, and in terms of machine vision, it was when we first went to spreadsheet design. But we're so far beyond that now. Wrapping everything into these application-specific wrappers, define the application, talk about what the end goal is, and the system will program it for you. Basically help you find the most efficient method, which is super cool. Let's just be real.
That's it. Yeah. Like today, have you talked to Myra? Like if you talk to Myra, like you just tell like, hey Myra, can you pick up the object? And she will ask you which are. You tell her just, hey, pick up the mouse. That's what we're showing there. She will simply not just pick the mouse. It's actually that's required for the industrial world. It's like how to do. So it means the whole program will be written, so you can actually go and adjust for your needs. So, and this is basically what we do. Like in the same also for many other things like gesture. Can say like take this component, put it there, and the robot will actually understand that and take your finger and take it once. And this is actually, I think, also required to make it simpler because that's how we are used to communicate. And 99% of the world are not programmers, and this is actually still, I would say, the limitation of robotics. Even industrial robotics will be a mass market. It sounds like it's a niche market, but it will be a mass market because simply, I just recently talked to a very, very big warehouse company, and they have like a lot of robots in the field already. So and you're like, okay, so you have so many robots. You're like right now one of the lead in that segment. So are you finished soon?
Are you done? Have you? No.
They said like if we could, we would have now 5 million more robots, and we will be probably still looking for robots. Like, and then I was like, yeah, okay. So what's the limitation? So why can't you just buy 5 million? I mean, there's enough players right now on the market. If you tell them, hey guys, just build 5 million robots. I mean, today we are building 500,000 robots for the whole world. So they will simply be happy because they like even they will need,
orders makes
like,
people happy.
They will need 10 years. And not having other customers.
Right.
So, but you know what's the answer? The answer was no. It's limited by also ourselves. Why? Because you need the program. We don't have enough programs. We have enough, a lot, but they're not enough. And at the same time, also the time of integrating takes too much time.
Yeah.
So, and the sensors and everything, you have to build it somehow. You have to put everything together, and then you have to reference it to each other. You have to somehow, let's say, commission the whole thing. This takes weeks. So, and this is actually the time we're losing right now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly, again, cognitive robots will solve exactly that. This is what we're showing there, like with the plug-in, let's say, interface, which we have today, which gives all the information from the sensor. And then if you have already a base of sensors in your arm, you can actually tell Myra, look at this camera, I place it here, and you connect it, and Myra can reference the camera to itself. This is actually the special thing. So you will have like minutes instead of weeks. And this is also what we're doing right now in Japan with a very big customer, and it comes, but it's still a way to go. But very soon.
Well, that very large company needs a lot of robots to be able to keep up with the pace of orders that my wife makes. So that's very helpful. But I do want to ask you about humanoids, and you mentioned critics, and there's a lot of critics and skeptics. Maybe skeptics would be the better term for humanoids. You had a panel discussion, say yesterday or the day before, and unfortunately I didn't have the chance to see it, but I wanted to, and I was following some commentary online about it that was kind of picking out just different talking points. Like, what were some of the takeaways there? And you know, like you mentioned it earlier too. The idea of, well, what do we need a humanoid for? If factories are flat, what do we need a humanoid for? First of all, I'll stop there. I have a follow-up question, but I'll stop there.
Mm-hmm. So I think one thing, humanoid robot is actually graspable for all people in the world. They will understand what the humanoid robot can do and how it can help them. So the acceptance much faster. Not really acceptance, but understanding at least.
Right.
You know, like, so, and this is also the comment I read also yesterday. But like I said, what my mother like knew since I shown her the humanoid robot, she understands what I'm doing. You know, before that, I showed her all the robot arms on mobile platforms, whatever. She somehow she did not get it. You know,
right.
And the difficulty is my mom is super smart, so it's not like I'm sorry. She
still loves your mom. It's all good.
I love you. But the thing is, it's more like that we robotic like people, we always think that everyone thinks this we do. No, they don't. They mostly, when I show them their arm, they will not understand what I'm doing.
Right.
And the same also in the more so to get understanding, it's very important in that humanoid sector. But we are not just building humanoids for understanding. I think a lot of environments are made for humans, ergonomically made for humans.
Most.
The most.
Including nature.
Yes.
Let's remember that. Which
yes.
is
Only that's what it feels like. They are actually made also for automation and whatever. So they're made for not just for humans.
Right.
But the rest of the world, the biggest part of the world, is actually made for humans. And this is actually the place where we want to place also the humanoid. So it's not that we are replacing the mobile platforms. It's more like we're having an addition, like the next gen. And the interesting part is also that there's still a lot of things to do. So that's why we don't have them today. So, and I hear it also that we are like there was on a panel a question like, when do you have like real application in the field, like where you're using them? And I said, like, I hear that some are very soon, you know. But in my opinion, it's wrong. Like you should buy it because they're not that far. They're not good enough. And this is okay. And this is why there's right now a lot of people going into it. It's not because everything is ready. It's because actually you need to get ready.
Right.
And this is also what we are doing. So, and this is also so important for us that we say everything what we do also in the industrial sector, even the dual arm for household, like this mobile platform, everything is contributing to the humanoid. And in this time, like until we are finishing this and solving some bigger, let's say, how do we call it, like challenges, like until there, like it will be smart enough and will be helpful enough that we accept them and say it's not just a hype. But it is still some way to go, but it's necessary. So,
right.
And that's why I'm not understanding. Like some are super negative, some are super positive. And I think it's something in the mid. It's like both. Still a lot to solve. We're showing also there like are for anyone. It's smart. It can do things or whatever. But it's we will show also much more in July, like with a big partner.
Yeah.
Where we show like real case scenarios and whatever. But again, it's still also pilots. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say it this way because they would probably no, but for us as pilots, we have to learn, we have to develop the whole thing further.
Right.
It needs to have a skin like humans do, you know, like to be interactive next to humans.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be robust enough so you can actually let it fall and will not break all your gears or whatever.
Right.
So there's some things you need to solve, and I think it will come, but it will be soon.
You know, you mentioned it falling. No, that's an interesting point, right? Like, how do you address? Did the topic of safety come up? Like, if a robot fell down on top of a person,
Yeah.
that's going to hurt.
It's a very good topic. Yeah. Actually, so in this, we do have, like, let's say, some false scenarios where we how we work on them, but that's exactly the complexity in that. Is that first, okay, you need to solve one thing is like sensing humans and knowing what's a human, and then being interactive and never collide with a human. But then, yes, one scenario is like there's not just one, there's more. Like it's actually
Basically an infinite number.
like, because we worked on that, and we and safety is my big, like, I love safety because I'm a machinery safety expert, and every product of which we build, it has redundancy, diversity, like everything what we do is like safe.
Yeah.
So in the humanoids sector, the difficulty is that, and this is again, it's actually the leg thing, you know. So, and this is again the issue. So, because if you have wheels, you will simply just, you will not fall down.
Right.
So, but the human, and you will have brakes, and you simply stop. That's it. With the humanoid, you will fall down. And so, and this is actually the scenario where we work on different behavior when it falls, also different kind of coatings on the system itself, so it will not hurt you.
Right.
And at the same time, also reaction how it will fall. So it's the same as we humans. Like, we might also fall on us, but and these are things which need to be solved. We have there some ideas, we're working, but it's still not the solution there, I would say. So we can right now just stop before we are actually touching a human. Before we come too close or whatever. These are things which we can ensure, but everything else, like it still need to be, let's say.
Now, is that the MPE, the humanoid? Is that its project name?
For anyone. So it's a for and E and then a one.
Okay.
So, and why? Because simply we believe that this will be a body in every home. So it should somehow get a name.
Yes.
Because you know what I figured out? Because when I walk now into our AI lab, I say, "Hey, Myra," all the robots starting like, "Hey, what can I do for you?" And then I have an issue, like, which one? Like, and everyone is listening to me, so it's an issue.
Yeah.
So, and that's why for anyone will be just like, this is how you take, like, you buy for anyone, and at the end you change the name, however you to call it. And as I told you before on the way here, it even right now changed the name by itself and through AI. So
I'm looking forward to going up there and having the conversation. When we dropped by yesterday, I didn't know we could talk to it, man. What were we thinking?
Yeah, no, that's, I think, it's rather obvious in some sense that ease of use would be a term or concept that gets thrown around a lot because, things should be easier to use. But that's something that's been pushed a lot in the industry lately. And I just think it seems like you guys are really taking that seriously and pushing it to a new level of ease of use.
Yeah,
It's not, like Winn said before, it's beyond the teach pendant.
Well, bringing humanity into the discussion is in a very real sense. Serving humanity is something that gets talked about a lot. But you guys and your technology and your existing product line already are living examples of that. So that's so cool. And from all of us both involved in it and the ones who monitor it and watch you guys build amazing things, I seriously thank you so much, David. And I can't thank you enough for your time today. Before we cut loose and let you get on to your next event, is there any last message you'd like to share with the audience?
Yes, I'm super excited to tell we are today also in US. So I'm excited to be back in US. As I said, like I was living in San Francisco and I really enjoyed US. And today, we will start building here, like robots. We will build the whole, let's say, company for US, because I think this will be also super special. I will not limit it to a sales office or whatever, because we're not looking for sales. We have a partner, like a couple actually. Like how we go to market is different than the others, and I think this is also special about NEURA, and that's why we focus on core technologies, how to bring them further, how to be make them more useful, and at the same time also looking for like all kind of people. So if you want to join NEURA, you have passion about robotics, you have passion about serving humanity with technology, so you're welcome in NEURA. And we are pretty much looking forward. So you can just simply go on our website and look at the openings. I think US is not a lot of openings right now because we simply looking for the right leader for this market here. But pretty soon there will be all kind of openings coming up. So
outstanding. All right, so you can learn more at neurorobotics.com, and we'll keep an eye out for the announcement of where the new North American headquarters is going to be located.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, you can already access your products through 2 of the partnerships. I think you announced some partnerships this week. Is that correct?
Yes. We announced the partnership with Omron. It's also it means a lot to us because simply Omron is an industry, let's say, leading expert in the automation
For sure.
industries, and has a lot of periphery which we put on the NeuRa's platform. And this is also like how this whole platform gets even more alive, let's say like that. And at the same time, also Kawasaki is one of our partners for cobots, where we also really like it's amazing like how we work together. And US is also a very big focus in this segment. Like we it's a big experienced players, successful players, which created a market the last 40, 50 years, are now working with us together as we are more of like a speedboat. And I think there is a lot of more things to come, and I'm excited about that.
Wonderful. David Reger, thank you so much for giving us your time again today. It's been a real pleasure to meet you in person.
Great pleasure to meet you.
All right. If anybody's got any questions for David or NEURA Robotics, please reach out to them. Reach out to them directly through their website. You can also ping us below, and we'll make sure we get any kind of questions you have over to David. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Manufacturing Matters. If you want to see any kind of past episodes, go to manufacturing-matters.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.